Imagine if you had a fitness studio, 5 fitness studios that were doing $4 to $5 million per year in revenue. Pretty good numbers. Well, you don't have to imagine that anymore because I've got someone here that's actually doing it, and they are awesome. One of the smartest guys that I know, and he's got an incredible team. I've gotten to meet a good portion of them. We've got Mike Littrel here from X3 Sports. Mike,
Hey.
Welcome to the GSD show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Man, I remember the first day you and I sat down, and I was already like, I've got to get this guy working with us because this guy's got a long runway. He's going to be able to get a lot done. And hearing and watching about you and your team, by the way, your team is awesome. You've done a great job building culture there, so I'm actually going to want to learn from you on that as well.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
And we'll start with the numbers. So about $4 to $5 million a year, 5 locations. Goal is to do $10 million.
Yeah.
Do you know when you want to get that done by?
Yeah, I think the plan is we expect that we should be on track to be able to do that inside of the next 36 months.
36 months, so
Yeah.
doubling business in 3 years. Okay, I love the goals. You started your first location in 2007.
Yeah, so I actually opened the first X3 Sports in 2007, January of 2007, so the very beginning. There's some precursor to that. I did do some work prior to that, but ultimately we got our first location open in 2007.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to want to talk to you about that. Like, how did you go from this one fitness studio? Because it's not like you bought into a franchise that had
Right.
a roadmap. You built a brand, right?
Right, correct.
So I'm going to talk to you about how you got there and then how you continued to grow to where you're at today. Before I do that, X3 Sports, it's a combination of a bunch of really fun type of workouts.
Yeah.
And you charge a standard price, about $169 a month, right? So it's not like you're charging $300 a month or $400 a month, which is what's inflating your revenue.
Right.
It's about $169. So what's X3 Sports?
So in terms of X3 Sports, the name, of course, in 2007, mixed martial arts was really starting to become a little bit of a thing. That's some of my background. So really what I had first looked for was a place that I could train because I wanted to do multiple disciplines in training, sports training, strength training, as well as jiu-jitsu, boxing, kickboxing. What I realized was very quickly, number one, the place didn't exist, and the places that did exist were really not very conducive to your average client. So,
Why did you feel that?
for instance, the first boxing gym I ever walked into, it was a very rugged, dirty, spit on the floor kind of place. Certainly didn't have anyone to greet me, and honestly, they looked at me probably like I was fresh meat. Like, okay, who's the guy we're going to beat up today?
Now, here's the thing. That guy thinks his business is good. What made you realize that it wasn't good? What's your background before that?
So my background really, originally I'm from Iowa. Growing up there, I moved to Atlanta, Georgia to go to school. I wrestled my whole life, and wrestling was a sport I competed in amongst other sports, but it was a very tough, grinding sport. But my best friends in life are from that sport, and I realize that the accomplishments and the benefits and health benefits, strength benefits, all those things that you kind of get sub of the fact that you're actually trying to compete were phenomenal. So I actually decided I wanted to learn to box while I was in college to keep myself busy. And as I did that, I realized, wow, this is such a phenomenal workout. But boy, there's like who would walk into a place like this? Not that I was intimidated, but I was intimidated, and I was a relatively fit, strong guy. I wasn't afraid of getting beat up per se, but I just wanted to learn something. But I felt awkward when I got in there because there was no process system or even like I think I sought somebody out and asked him, do I pay or what do I do here? So, and this is before I even got into the fitness business. So I graduated college. I went into commercial real estate, and as time went on, my passion for this type of sport and business continued to grow, and I saw an opportunity to merge the two. So kind of fast forward, that's where 2000 comes along, and I realized if somebody could take something like boxing or wrestling or jiu-jitsu or quite frankly, fitness for that matter, because there were just box gyms at the time. This is pre-boutique world, if you really think about it. And align it more towards like going to practice, being part of a team, showing up, having a coach lead you, and oh, by the way, you're going to get some great benefits, whether it's performance benefits or I just want to get in physical shape, and I need to do it around people I like to do. So I hated wrestling practice per se.
Right.
It was hard. I was dehydrated. I was cutting weight. And it was hard, right? But my best friends were there. So I never missed a practice. We never did. So, I started looking at fitness like that. For a lot of people, it's the same thing. It's this necessary evil to get to something better. And so just this thought of, if somebody could just make it into that format, I think it would do great. And that sort of was the genesis behind the idea. And, things kept happening along the way. I kept moving in directions that just sort of got us there. And so that's where X3 sort of takes off. And so, that coupled with, I also started competing in boxing and kickboxing and mixed martial arts, and did pretty well, but also realized that I probably was going to be better off suited on the side of the business as opposed to being a punching bag or getting my head punched for a living.
Right.
So, I moved in that direction, and I'm really glad I did because, obviously, the gym component, but because of the people that I've gotten to meet, work with, help, and the lives that I know we've changed along the way, whether that's, the person who has gone on to compete. We've got guys at all the levels, UFC, Bellator, all the big names. We've got guys in all the major sports, NFL, major leagues, those kind of things. But who I really get excited about is that person who is afraid to walk into the gym, and once they come in, once they go through our process of the warm invite, the tour, the whole in and out process where they don't never feel alone or lost, that's the person's life I'm going to change forever, because that's the
the most common person.
Yeah. And there's a lot more of them. And so that's why, and then really that's why we grew to 5 gyms. I mean, it's not because I need more work. I just saw not only for the people that we can help, and then my team, my staff, I look at everybody who's part of my company as this is their career, and we're trying to do something more worthwhile than just have a job.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously you saw opportunities, you saw weaknesses. The most common target demographic is that person that might be a little intimidated.
Yeah.
So 5 locations. I know that you've got 40 employees working just within our program. How many total employees do you have?
So since post-COVID now, or the shutdowns, we're probably right at the 100 mark.
100 employees.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people.
We were probably 120 before COVID. Most of them that left or that we kind of moved on from, we knew they weren't in the right position, and it gave us an opportunity to kind of tool that a little differently.
When you were at your first location,
yeah,
you probably started thinking about systems and processes, but I'm sure now you have to think about systems everywhere, in every angle.
100%.
So talk to me about some of the systems that you've built that you believe has really, really helped your company scale the way it has successfully and profitably.
Yeah, 100%. Well, the main thing, of course, starts with a sales process. If you don't have something that's going to keep the new blood flowing in, you're not going anywhere.
Right.
So, that was critical. And of course, going from one location to 2, you can get yourself into a place where you can run faster, right? And then I got to 3 locations, and I'm just running even faster. 4 was my aha breaking point. Like, I can't run as fast without having better systems and processes.
Right.
But a lot of them were along the way. Where I sort of fell short was I built all these systems and processes, but didn't do a good job of making sure they were implemented by the people who had to run them. I thought once I handed them to them, they should just know what to do with it.
Right.
So that was probably a great long lesson for me, especially as I'm trying to scale, and happens to be one of the
What
things
did you notice actually happened?
In terms of what
you said, I handed it to them and I expected them to just know what to do with it. What actually happened?
Yeah, they would make the choice to do what they thought should happen.
Right.
Of course, they had different stories behind why things were happening or not happening, and like anything, you whatever you choose to believe, you're going to find the evidence to make it justified. And I had to kind of show them the contrary evidence, and again, show that it's not about attacking, but it's like, hey, just like I'm coaching an athlete, right? If you are learning something, if I'm teaching you a jiu-jitsu move, or if you're learning, you're fighting, this other person is also in the battle with you. It doesn't mean you may not be doing it completely wrong, but it's not getting the success you're after. So you have to be open to the idea that there's more than one ways to get there, but there are some tried and true methods. If you don't have the basics, if you don't have the foundational pieces, all the fluff, all the cool little one-off variables that you can pull off aren't really going to make a hill of beans.
Right. You talk about the sales process being the most important system in your business right now. And I agree, by the way. I mean, at the end of the day, if you don't have sales, none of the other processes ever even get the chance to play.
That's right.
Who cares? Your finance process, what finance? There's no money coming in.
Exactly.
Your retention process, who are we retaining? There's nobody in here. So you understand what I've been talking about on the show for years now, the importance of the sales process. So what's your sales process look like? What are some of the key components that you really harp on and you're a stickler about?
Yeah, so I mean, it's first and foremost. So if you even look back to the pre-process, the marketing, the stuff that gets these things in the door, whether it's through paid stuff, whether it's through organic stuff, whether it's through referrals, especially through referrals. But it is making sure that we engage in that first level of contact. And again, this might date me a little bit more, but I'm still the guy who says pick up the phone and get them on the phone.
Yeah. That doesn't date you. That in 20 years, that's how it should be.
I get pushback for some of the younger people. Like, people don't answer the phone. It's text messages now, and I'm like, okay, I understand that.
Text
well, then fine.
To find a way to get on the phone. Right.
Yeah, I think we're in the same agreement, but it's getting to that step. Okay, fine, I gotcha. We know things have changed, but now how do we still get back to the basics, which is now I can connect to you one-to-one. And really, that's how this whole business has gotten built. All 5 locations, or every location that goes from, I remember each jumping point, get to 300 members, and then there's sort of a little stag point, and then all of a sudden we get to 600, and then get to 900, and then when you break the 1,000 threshold, there's little things that happen along the way, and but yeah, you have to always get back to those basics. So the basics is, do I get on the phone, and most importantly, with that person, understand their why.
Right.
What are you looking for? Because if you just need a gym, there's plenty of choices.
Right. Really quick, I'm going to go into your sales numbers, and I kind of want to understand the numbers that you measure and then the numbers that you achieve on a monthly basis, so that everyone listening in or watching can go, okay, cool, I have a bar now I know I can lean myself against. Before I do that, though, if you like what you're hearing so far, guys, we have a ton of these videos. Make sure that you like this video if you're watching on YouTube. If you guys are listening in, make sure that you subscribe. Leave us a review. The more reviews we get, the more we'll actually maybe just reach out to you and get you on the show, or find a way to shout you out on the show. But we also want to make sure that you guys understand that you can hit that little bell button on YouTube, where we'll actually alert you every time we actually release a new episode, so that you can be one of the first ones to hear it. In the comments, what we also like is if you can comment with one of two things, or both. Either your biggest takeaway from the show, which either might have already happened or it's about to happen, and number 2, what you wish we actually did more of, or if there's a guest you wish we actually get on the show. And we'll go ahead and talk about that. Okay, so let's get back to it. Your sales numbers. So what are some of the things that you look at on either a daily, weekly, monthly basis? And I'd actually even like to know the frequency. And it could be a sales manager you have or a studio manager. Right. What are the numbers you look at? What's the frequency? And then how do you make decisions based on those numbers?
Yeah, so I mean, of course, once we can track all the way to the activity, like how much are you even reaching out to people, whether it's
how many calls you
how
make.
many calls, messages, emails, et cetera, et cetera. So, our focus is trying to reach out to at least a minimum of 100 people per day. Now, again,
as a studio or per shift?
Per person.
Per person.
Yeah.
So, and how many people in a day would have that responsibility?
3 to 4.
So 300 to 400 calls a day.
Yeah.
You guys hearing this? For those of you that are like, oh, we made like 30 calls today, knock it off. You made 10
breakfast
times
is
more
over.
than
Now
that.
what'd you do?
Yeah. If he made 10 times more than that, and he's doing $1 million per studio per year, and you're only doing about $100,000 per studio per year, understand that that's 1/10, just like the amount of calls that you're making. Okay? Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, of course, then that leads to, how many meaningful conversations and appointments. Because, when you're working with people that are doing it, it's that effort, right? It starts with the activity. And we say, are you doing enough? And if you are you doing it well enough? Because I've had guys, one guy specifically I remember talking to him, and he's like, I made 400 calls today. And I'm like, you set 2 appointments.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so
what's your goal for that?
So with that was, let me listen to what's going on, because I feel like I've sent you down the wrong path. You're working way too hard because something's not right here.
Right. How many should they set? Like, let's say they make 100 calls. What's your expectation for an appointment for that person?
again, it's back to the conversation. Like, look, if you make 100 calls and no one pick up the phone, well, then you got to switch the method. So, all right, send that message. But ultimately, my focus for my team would be each person should set between 6 and 8 appointments. So whatever it takes to get to that per day. If you've got quality leads that you've nurtured well and you've gotten those good referrals and you've set them up the right way and done the things that I know you guys that we've used even from you and that we've tried to make sure that our team knows how to do, that gets easier. You don't have to make 100 calls or make 100 calls, great. And if you connect to 50 people and they really want to talk to you, you can do that. But I can also made 50 calls, connected to 20 people, and setting 18 appointments.
Right.
If you do it right.
Right.
So that's how good you are versus how hard you're working.
Right. So if you have 3 to 4 people making 100 calls per day, and that's per studio.
Correct.
And each person's setting about 6 to 8. I mean, is that common? 6 to 8 per day?
Yeah. So, and again, there's
that
ebbs and
average?
flows. Yeah. There'll be days, if it's a Saturday and it's a short day for us, that they might, might add one or
Let's
two.
eliminate Saturdays,
Right.
which obviously you don't. But
Right.
So on a 5-day week,
40.
if you have 40
Appointments
40 appointments booked.
booked.
So you have 40 appointments that you book per week, and then of those per studio.
Mm-hmm.
And how many of those would you close?
So we expect, and this is what we want to improve. Minimally standard is a 50% show rate
Wait, is that per person?
per person, per membership coach. Yeah.
So each person has to book 40 a week.
Correct.
And you have 3 to 4 people per studio?
Typically.
Damn.
Yeah. Now, on some of the smaller ones, there's only 2 people.
Yeah.
But as we ramp up, yeah. So, I mean,
You guys hearing this too? You guys hear? Okay, so now, where are most of these opportunities coming from? Where are you getting all these people to call?
so most of it starts, with marketing, there's so many, touch points that have to happen. People have to become aware of you. The fastest way is that referral.
Right.
Mike, you work out at this place. You look like you're in great shape. You're loving it. You're clearly going to be talking about it. You're always talking about this place. What is it? And that's where we get the bulk, right? Especially the lowest hanging fruit. That's the people that Mike's already been telling me about it. I see how much it's impacting him. So we get from that awareness phase and all these other things to this is a person who's ready to come in. In fact, Mike might even be bringing me in. So they get a lot of those easy appointments from that component right there. But, people still do their own research. They're going to go online. We do paid ads. We do everything that you can think of to be aware, make people aware of us. We do outside just the old traditional getting out and trying to set up events, be in places to just let people know we're there. Wow. I like the old guerrilla style stuff. I used to run around parking lots with flyers and do everything under the sun. But, there's a more efficient way to do those things now. And, by doing that, if that person happens to say, oh, I realize Mike's been at that place, and I've heard about it a couple times, it makes it even that much easier. Versus, things like, people go on Google, we do Google, Facebook, all the different things. A lot of times they're still in the learning about us phase. So they fill out our web leads, and we get those leads in. And, one of the questions you asked me earlier is in that sales process is the immediate contact. If we aren't calling them in 5 minutes, we're missing the boat.
Right.
So.
One of the things I hear often from studio owners is it's hard to get my people to call that many people. So 2 questions to that. Number 1, what kind of people do you look for? Where do you find them? Knowing that they're probably not going to give you that pushback. And number 2, and if they give you that pushback, what do you do or how do you handle it?
Yeah. So, again, it's going to start with, do you have the right person in the right seat? Right. So, we use some tools. We're actually starting to use a new tool starting next week called Culture Index. I'll be able to speak to more of that later, but I've gotten to work with it a little bit. But it really just starts from is this person even inclined for this position?
Right.
Sales is a unique position. It takes a special person. Right. And it takes people, and there's different types of sales within that, as you all know. So, I think it goes back to we have to make sure that, number 1, we start with, you're clear about what your expectations are and what it's going to take to get there.
Right.
So if you're uncomfortable, sort of getting onto that phone and making the grinding calls, if it feels like a grind to you, and sending out the messages, then you definitely aren't going to have success. And we can see that pretty quickly and pretty early. So we try to. I know that's a bad word here.
It is.
I'm sorry,
and
it is a bad word.
But I know that you know it.
I caught it,
and I like that you did. I like that you caught it.
We have been actively, reapproaching how we bring on our staff, which is, if we're not able to hit these numbers, we're not really helping people. And so it's less about I'm grinding you out in sales and more about if we truly want to be here and truly want to help people, this is our scoreboard.
So this is let's say it's my resume. It's not, but let's say it was my resume and I want to come work for you. What are you looking for on here as far as experience goes or whatever it is in order to first make the decision, okay, I want to interview this person?
Yeah.
What do you look for there?
Well, a couple things. Less about the experience because, your resumes only tell me what you want me to know.
Right, right.
So what I want to see is there some consistency? Have you been somewhere for more than a year or two at a time?
So you're able to keep a job
Yeah.
and be loyal.
Yeah.
Okay. And not get fired.
And not get fired, right? Are there gaps? Of course. Are you hiding something?
Right.
And then after that, then do you have like sales experience? Do you have fitness sales experience? Because people come in with sales experience, but they don't understand the fitness business is slightly different. Our hours are different. We work mornings and evenings. We don't work a 9 to 5.
Right.
And just even the lifestyle that it requires, are you going to fit that mold? And then ultimately, what are your progression plans? We know that if you start in our membership, I want to make sure, like my goals are to make sure that I have the highest paid employees in the industry. Because if they're making more money, my company's making more money. I'm making more money.
Now, here's the thing: you could just so I want to stop on there for a second because that's a really, really good thing to pay attention to. You want to have the highest paid employees in the industry, which means you're also saying I want the best people.
Yeah,
that's basically what you're saying. I want the best people because you're not just looking to be a nonprofit, right?
That's right. I already have one of those.
yeah, exactly. Which we'll talk more about too.
Yeah.
So, the funny thing is a lot of people They do a poor job of rating the quality or the importance of a salesperson. For example, you'll hear people say like, if you were to take somebody that's in operations, you go, hey, you can make more money if you go to sales. Some people might get insulted, like, sales, is that what you think I can do? And it's like, well, no, sales is really hard.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of grit, it takes a lot of competency, and it takes a lot of willingness to learn and adjust on an ongoing basis. A lot of adjusting, a lot of adapting. And, when you're looking for great salespeople, typically the best salesperson in a company is one of the highest paid, if not the highest paid employee. That's typical.
Yeah.
Not the best instructor.
That's right.
Unless the instructor is also the best salesperson.
Right.
That's pretty much the only exception. But why though? So let's say you get it. What's the name of your top salesperson in regards to numbers?
It would be, I've got a couple of them. They're always fighting neck and neck with each other.
What are their names?
I got Ferris Roland.
Ferris.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I've got Matthew Adcock and Ricardo Rodriguez.
Okay, so let's talk about, let's just pick any one of them or just generally the whole of them.
Okay.
What does any one of them sell per month in memberships?
I don't see any of them less than 40 units personally every single month.
40 memberships
40
sold.
memberships themselves.
Just that one person?
That one person.
And you charge about $169?
Yeah, between 129 and 169. The average is probably going to be around 139.
139, okay. And then do they do any ancillary sales as well, or is that pretty much it?
Oh, no, equipment kits.
So typically, if they signed up 40 people, how much in ancillary sales would they have?
In dollar amount?
Yeah.
Usually you're going to have at least $100 per person signed up, so another $4,000.
Okay. So this person brought in about $5,600 in monthly recurring revenue and $4,000 in ancillary sales. So $9,600 in month one. What would you pay someone to bring in $9,600 in month one, of which $5,600 of that will also be paid to you again next month? How many months on average does the average person stay with you?
We only do 12-month and 24-month contracts.
So already it's locked in at 12 or 24.
Correct.
What's the average?
The average is probably going to stay 13 months.
Okay. So 5,600 times 13, that's $78,360 plus your $4,000. So the average salesperson brings in $82,360 in revenue per month into your business. Why wouldn't you pay awesome money to that person? Like you just said, I get the top paid people in my company.
Yeah.
That is a number that can be justified.
And they're making more than that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's...
Well, that's per month.
People think
They're not making more than this
no,
per month.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want six-figure salesmen.
And that's what a great salesperson is worth.
Yeah.
Now, if a person watching this works as a salesperson for a fitness studio and goes, I'm not making six figures, are you producing this?
Yeah.
If the answer is no, then you're not getting paid six figures, not because you're a salesperson. You're not getting paid six figures because you're not a salesperson that's putting up this.
Yeah.
Or you're working for a person that undervalues salespeople. So if you're hitting this and you're not making six figures, you're probably just working for the wrong person.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I've had many guys come in to me, my comp structures are set up based on those performance. So first thing I say to someone who says, I'm unhappy with my paycheck, I said, me too.
Yeah.
I am too. I can't stand it.
Yeah, exactly. And here's the best part. So we saw that 82K. If they do this month in and month out, those are averages, right? Times 12 months, $1 million. $1 million brought to. Now, obviously, it's not all profit.
Right.
You've got your costs. You've got your rent. You've got your indirect labor employees, your operations people, your instructors. You got all that stuff. So obviously, it's not all profit, but damn, like that, the other average salesperson does not bring that in.
Right.
So the average person makes average money.
Yeah.
Those of you that watch are great salespeople. Now you have a benchmark. And those of you that are studio managers, now you have a benchmark for what you should look for, and then how much you could possibly pay them in order to steal top talent,
Right.
and be able to have more consistency in your sales, and not worry about this guy going somewhere else. Because where are they going to go?
Right.
Your people, are they going to leave you for?
No. In fact, I've been, especially in this in recent environment, been finding people that are very unhappy at other places where that top talent could be, but they're not being compensated correctly, and the opportunity isn't there. I've had 3 great people that I've brought in the last year and a half that came from a big national chain that when I showed them how they could, 1, our sales process, and number 2, the support, and then the comp, they were like, this is a no-brainer, and they loved it because they also know too, the biggest thing is our product. It's just, it's something that they know people want. Yeah. So they're not pushing something that's crap. They don't have to just get people convinced to do something that they don't even really believe in themselves.
Yeah. Now here's something for you. I don't even know if you do this, but I do it. So we had a salesperson that I had gotten over from a competitor. So literally they're selling what we're selling, but just an inferior product. It's not nearly as good.
Right.
And so my idea was to make sure he understands what we can really do here. The problem was he was actually doing really good in sales over there, and so he was getting paid pretty well.
Okay.
In fact, his comp structure was better than mine, and my comp structure is pretty good.
Right.
So I had to make a decision. Do I stick to my comp structure, or do I adjust it for a person that might be more trained, more prepared, with bigger contacts already to come in and hit a dent that's much bigger than the average person from day one?
Right.
So I did the math and I said, okay, well, this guy's going to get paid, let's say 20 or 25% more than what we would generally pay someone coming into this role. So your quota is 25% higher than the other guy.
Right.
And your goals are 25% higher, meaning that you're not going to be held to the same standard they are to keep your job. You're going to be held to a standard that's 25% higher to keep your job. Do you agree to that? He said, yes. Great. Now we know the deal. So now if his quota, let's say, is to add $30,000 in monthly revenue or monthly recurring revenue for us, it's now that plus 25%, which I think is like $3,750 or $37,500, something like that. I think that's what it comes out to. So now you got to sell a few more deals. But at the end of the day, is it worth it? Yes, if a person's bringing in that much business, it's absolutely worth it.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you do that? Do you ever adjust? If somebody's demanding more pay, do you ever hold them to a higher quota?
Yes. A lot of times, like I said, I try to make sure that from the get-go, it's you determine your pay, not me.
Yeah.
So if we're talking about, a base plus, the bases are somewhat adjustable, but that also comes into play with just that. So, but like you said, not only are you adjusting a quota, but you also are going to be much more scrutinizing about if somebody I'm letting ramp up a little longer.
Right.
I expect you to come in day one as opposed to somebody I'm giving a little bit more lead time.
Because you want to be paid day one that
You want
way.
to be paid, exactly right.
That's fine.
Yeah, you can't demand, all-star money and not show up and be an all-star.
100%. Right? Yeah, exactly. I love that. Okay. Now, do you also, have a standard for how much value per member, meaning how much they pay per month? So I know you have programs between 129 and 169.
Right.
If you have a salesperson, all of a sudden his average is like 129, 130, he's just selling the smallest thing.
Basics.
So do you have a standard for that?
Yeah, so we do a little bit of an average, a blended average, but the focus is that if you sell the unit number, all the other numbers will take care of themselves. We have people that come for different things, and what I want to make sure that my sales team approach is is that they are there to help and they are there to find the right solution for the needs. And we've already designed the programs to fit it, so you don't have to be a negotiator. We're not here to wheel and deal. We're here to solve problems.
Right.
And so, if there, it's almost impossible to just only end up with someone on the lowest packages all the time. There's people that are coming for other programs that we have. So yeah, you of course you will see the better people who understand the needs more. And when I say better salespeople who go, okay, Mike, I know you came here to lose some weight and get in shape. And we have our basic level package or our X1 level package, which is all the fitness classes. But I already know that, kind of what you've been telling me, you're going to quickly want to gravitate to some strength training.
Right.
Okay. And we always recommend that anybody, men, women, whether it's for weight loss or strength, it's going to help you dramatically. That starts on our X2. So we have a couple options. If we get into price sensitivity, I can start you less until you really see that value, and then we can upgrade you. Or let's go ahead and get you started day one with this. And it's still not my highest price one, but it's based on, the two things that I see for you. But you make that choice, not me. I'm not going to force it on anybody. And I think people people see that as a true, genuine need to help and want to help, as opposed to, oh, you're just trying to get the most out of me.
Right.
As a salesperson.
That's pretty good. The other one is I know that we talk a lot in our program about getting referrals to point of sale.
Yeah.
Do you take that advice and use
100%. And in fact, I was, that when you guys, we went through that, we take my team through all the LRVT. I mean, we're on it every day. And then we have...
Wait, hold on. So you do trainings every day in LRVT?
Everyone's got videos for every day to watch.
I love it.
And then we have 2 check-in calls per week to review and also implement.
I love it.
So yeah, and it's stuff that, for anybody who's even thinking about it, but even for us, it's like, it wasn't like earth-shattering things. It was things that we already either had documented, but we weren't really always implementing. And so sometimes it's just good reminders of, you know what, these are what you're supposed to do.
I haven't done that in a while. That's
yeah.
right. You know what? I used to do that. We stopped doing that.
Yeah.
That happens a lot.
Yep, all the time. And just like the referrals, like, we have referral VIP sheets sitting right at the desk. As soon as you're done signing up, you're literally supposed to have the sheet in front of them. But again, when out of sight, out of mind, or when somebody else starts focusing over here. So yeah, it's right there. It's that first part of it, and we're trying to show them how, if you don't do that, the referral is going to happen. It's just not going to happen for you.
Right.
So then it ends up showing up as a web lead somewhere that may or may not even come to you.
Right.
So
do you ever measure? I know we have a couple clients that are doing this where they measure an average referrals per sale. So let's say a person makes 30 sales in a month. Mm-hmm. We know that because they made, let's say 60, they got 60 referrals, they're averaging 2 referrals per sale. That's their average. And they're always wanted to move that a decimal point up more and more and more, 2.2, 2.3, eventually get to 3.
Yeah, we did that. In fact, I believe it was in May. We did a whole month of where we did the referral training through LRVT, and then we were actually implemented. So we ran a contest, and we measured every single day how many referrals did you get, how many referrals you get. And, we set very, very simple and achievable goals. We had some achieve their goal for the month in the first day.
Really?
Because they just started doing it.
What was the goal for the month?
The goal for the month for that, each individual was 50.
He got 50 referrals in one day?
One day.
Okay. Well, here we go. Another topic here. How did he get 50 referrals in one day? Where did they come from?
He asked.
You know what's funny? If you go through my referral training, I think we might have a video on YouTube. I don't know. We might have taken it down now and just saved it for our LRVT members. We might have probably done that. But either way, there was a time, if you guys watched it already, I talk about there's 8 referral strategies, 8 really good ones. The first one, ask. Then there were other ones that were a lot more sophisticated, complex. You've seen the referral point of sale, the refer and receive. There were a bunch of those. Yeah. The first one was ask. So he just asked and got 50.
Yeah. And I think by the day 2, he'd already had 150.
Is that nuts?
Yeah. So yeah, you just ask. And again, obviously, if you haven't built a relationship, if you're, the first time you're meeting someone, you're walking up to with a sheet, you're probably not going to have the same success. Mm-hmm. However, if your focus is, how are things going? How are you doing? What can I help you with? And if I'm doing such a good job for you, which hopefully we are all doing, that's why we're in this business, then you have it's a much easier transition to, employ some of these other tactics or strategies to really get that from people. Yeah. And what I found, because we've all gone through it. I've even been like, I don't want to bother. I don't want to seem like I'm begging for something. But what people realize, and the consumer realizes too, is that our business is predicated on, all of us having a great experience. Mm-hmm. So if I'm doing a good job for you, who can you help me spread that word to? Whether they come join or not, I don't care. I would love them just to come in and try to work out.
You know, one of the things you just said was, you know, if they go up to somebody, it's like they don't know them. It's going to be hard to ask for a referral.
Yeah.
And it not be like, who are you?
Right.
You know, the best salespeople are incredible at maintaining relationships with the people that they've sold.
That's right.
That's next level. That's a professional.
Yeah.
Amateur salespeople close a deal, go to the next one.
Right.
That's an amateur. And they'll do okay. They'll make good money. They'll probably make more money than their friends.
Right.
But they're not going to touch pro money.
That's right.
And, you know, I learned this lesson. I'll never forget. I don't know what years, 2012, 2013. I think you might have already caught on by now, but I'm a big basketball fan.
Yeah.
Okay. NBA in particular. And there was a year around that time, Blake Griffin, I don't know if you remember, he jumped over a Kia
Yeah, the
Optima
Kia,
and dunked. And I was in the need for a car at the time. It was a while ago. I was like, I'm going to get a Kia Optima. So I go into Kia and I sit down. And I remember the guy that's supposed to sell me just had to go back and go do something real quick and then come. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking over and right next to me, there's a desk, just like the one I'm at, but in a different cubicle. And there's just, it's like a storage. There's like all the trophies, I guess, that they put for everybody there. Was there on the chair, on the desk, under the desk? Like it wasn't a desk you can utilize.
Right.
It was literally a storage for trophies. And I just thought it was stupid that they don't use your closet, right? So the guy came up, and I'm like, hey, why do you guys like waste the desk like that? You know, at this time I'm thinking I know stuff about business, and so I'm a that's why I read maybe like 2-3 business books at a time, right?
You're ready now.
I know I could see the flaws.
Yeah.
Kia,
Right.
right? So I go, why are you guys putting all this stuff here? Why don't you put it in a closet? You have another desk open up. And he goes, oh, that's not storage. I go, why are you putting all the trophies there? He goes, those are Carl's. And I go, who the hell's Carl? And he goes, he's our top sales guy here. I go, those are all his, there's like 30, 40 trophies there. He goes,
Right.
yeah, there's about almost 40. He goes, he's literally won salesperson of the year or salesperson of the month every month for the last 3-4 years.
Right.
And I go, you got to be kidding me. Already? Now, here's the funny thing. Already, I didn't even want to work with
I
my
was
guy.
going to say, where's Carl? I want to talk to him.
I want to talk to Carl, right? And I don't even remember this guy's name, but guess whose name I remember?
Carl.
Carl. I don't know who sold me. He never talked to me again.
Right.
So I said, I go, where's Carl? I want to meet him. And he goes, oh, he's not here. And I go, where is he? Is he outside? Like, where is he? He's like, no. He's like, not here. I don't know where he's at. He's somewhere. And I go, how's he winning? You're over here working. All those guys are out there smoking a cigarette.
Right.
How are you the one? How's he the one beating you guys? He goes, Carl, man, he comes in here to do a test drive, sell a deal. Sometimes doesn't even do a test drive, and then he just goes back home. I go, how many of those does he do a day? Oh, he'll probably sell like on average 2 to 3, maybe sometimes 4 or 5 cars in a day. And I go, every day without being here? He's like, yeah, and he sells like the better cars. And I go, okay, how does he do that? Here's the worst part, Mike. This guy knew exactly how to be Carl. And he wasn't doing it.
Yeah.
He goes, oh, Carl's just, he's on top of it. If it's someone's birthday, he sends them birthday stuff. He'll call them. He'll video call them. You know, he's been invited to weddings, to bat mitzvahs, to graduations. Yeah. He, like, knows them. So when they come in to buy another car or they refer people, they just go to Carl. And I go, why don't you do that? And he goes, oh, it's not easy. Look at his desk.
The recipe's right here.
Yeah, it's not easy. Is it easy being out there inhaling secondhand smoke plus your firsthand for the next 10 hours? Because this guy's home.
Right.
And that's just the difference between an amateur and a pro.
Yeah.
And the worst part about it, he doesn't even think that he's an amateur. He can't even see it when it's right there.
Sure.
So for everyone listening, watching, forget the fact that you made the sale. That's one sale. You can continue getting more sales, more business, ascend them into higher programs. You never know where they work. You could get a corporate deal from that. There's so many opportunities. And you keep going after a brand new relationship that you have to start all over again.
That's right.
It's so expensive and costly for your time.
It is. And you know, that's with what we try to get our team focused on. It's like, you know, every last person that you take care of, if that's your last interaction with them, you've already failed.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, we know the business grows because of that depth, that continued building of relationships. So, you know, it's.
You say you got this foundation. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so the X3 Sports Foundation, the X3 Foundation. It's a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We started it in 2012.
Okay.
You know, giving back and being part of the community and really just helping people has been part of our nature since day one. It's part of our DNA. I used to have people, kids come in and, like I told you, I grew up in Iowa. I've got a big family. I've got 6 other brothers and sisters. Grew up with around 5 of us. And so, I know what it was like to go, if it wasn't free and through the school, I wasn't going to get to participate. Right. So, my mindset with any of the kids that come into our programs is I'm going to find a way to get to yes. Well, with working some high profile people, I used to have some interesting things with a lot of NFL guys. They would come train, they loved to be here, but there was an ego about it. Like, wait, you're going to charge me for the 3 months I'm in town? I'm like, yeah, because me mentioning your name to my landlord doesn't exactly pay the rent or the mortgage. So anyway, long story short, I found that if I was able to, find a way for them to make this a tax write-off. So back to, I wanted to accomplish this objective. I wanted to raise the money to help support some of these kids. I would have to go through the channels of setting up a nonprofit. And we did that. In fact, last year we won executive champion in Atlanta as a small company, and Home Depot was the only other person who won as big company. So I figured, we're on pretty good company if we're winning for that. So, for community service and involvement. But that was a chance to say, look, instead of you writing me any money, you just make a donation to my foundation or sponsor some kids. And so what I found was more important is just another way that people now want to join X3 Sports, not because we had the best workouts, not because we were maybe the hot, trendy place to be. It was, these guys do this too. And it was just another lens for people to see who we really were, instead of it being we're just trying to sell stuff. So, that's something I want to continue to develop more, because I think now, especially in our world, more people are looking for companies that, stand for something and do more than just generate business. So we work with after school programs. We brought kids in. We've actually built a mini school inside of an Atlanta public school, a mini gym, I should say. And just working with some of the kids, that come from the most heartbreaking of areas, because nobody's going in there to help. Nobody, the funds aren't there. And the good thing about our organization is that, because it aligns with what we already do for business, it doesn't matter if we get grants or donations or not, we're doing it anyway. So I've had people, in fact, last year, unfortunately, with one of the schools we were at, every after-school program partner pulled out because there was no funding. And I actually, my response was, wait, there's funding? I didn't know there was going to be funding here. We were coming anyway. And so we were the only ones who ran our programming. And again, some of these kids we've seen go on to, move on and make sure they get to the next level in school. It's a fantastic thing that what I love doing. And again, as we become more successful in our business, those are some of those reasons why we drive sales numbers. I tell people all the time, I'm going to give you 10 times more value out of your membership and out of what you're programming here. But we're also going to do more in this community beyond just do business.
That's not only great for your members to see and feel like they're a part of, it's great for your employees to see and feel you're a part of, and their families.
Yeah, and I will tell you, I don't, we will pay for, some of our staff to do that, but I never have to actually pay if I don't want to. These guys are volunteering left and right. My team runs this thing just as much as is a mission from me. So there's a waiting list of people going, when can I help? When can I go?
Damn, that's pretty cool.
It's fun.
Well, Mike, you're in town because we have our boot camp this weekend,
That's
right? So you and your team, I know you got a few people out here. You're all going to be there these next 2 days.
Absolutely.
So for those of you that don't know, we have a boot camp that we do every quarter. Mike's, you're a part of team, so you get 2 free tickets no matter what every year. We might have hooked you up with a couple more because you got 40 people on the program.
That's right.
But for everybody else that's watching, these are incredible boot camps. Have you been to other ones before? Or you have
the virtual ones?
Virtual ones, because that's all we had.
Because we started with you guys in the middle of the pandemic.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So they're awesome. They're about 2-day events. We really dive in, and every single boot camp is a specific pillar in business. So there's 4. So it's revenue, sales, and marketing. Which is going to be the one after this. So that's the next one in about 3 months from now. There's systems and processes. There's systems and scaling. That's today. Yeah. There's finance. That was the most recent one prior. And then there's people and culture, leadership, management, that whole stuff. So if you guys want to get the sales and marketing one's going to be in November, you can email lrvt@loudrumor.com if you want to get dates and information on that next one. Also, if you want to learn more about how you can work in a program similar to Mike, you've got 40 of your employees in there. Yeah. So you can learn some of the stuff that Mike's doing outside of just this episode, which is a phenomenal episode. I really love it. Like, I could keep going, but I know we've got another person ready to go too, because we've got so many people that flew in for this event.
Awesome.
So You can just go same thing, lrvt@loudrumor.com, and just say, hey, I'd like to learn more about what it is that this program's about. We'll tell you about it if you qualify. Not everyone qualifies now. We actually have, I don't know if you know this, but we have like benchmarks now,
right?
To make sure, because we want to make sure guys like you are, actually enjoying the program and not working with somebody that's doing $2,000, $3,000 a month. It doesn't make sense. So we're actually breaking it up into silos now. So we have different breaks. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you just a quick point for us is, as a founder and owner, but I've got a large staff, and, it wasn't just about how much I could get out of it. It's can I get my team involved, and can they be the ones, because they're the ones leading the company just as much as I am. So, I think, whether you're a small studio owner, that's sweet spot 100%. But even as we moved up to that next level, I've enjoyed working with you guys to try to figure out how to really make sure that it's not just something as me as an owner who's looking at bigger picture items, but also your people who have to be empowered.
Right. I love it. And you said you make them go through about 2 videos a day, which is roughly like 3-minute videos each. So it's like 5 to 10 minutes a day tops.
Yeah.
And they like it. They enjoy it.
I've had so with our new onboarding process, I've had I'm talking to every new hire. Not only first day, but also after their first week, and I've had every last one of them say, I've worked for some of the biggest chains, all the names out there, and they said none of them have ever done this type of training. Even if it was somebody who I thought, wow, you're kidding me. You're coming in from a high level place, and a place that has a deeper pockets, I would imagine. But no, they're not investing in them. So it's fantastic.
I appreciate that. And here's the deal, guys. For those watching, listening in, you'll never know what it's like from the outside. You can only tell once you get inside. You want to know what that looks like? Give us a call, 480-567-9794, or email lrvt@loudrumor.com. If you like this episode and Mike and everything that we talked about here, go ahead and like this video, subscribe, make sure you leave us a review on our podcast. We're right on iTunes. That would be super helpful. It helps fund the show, guys. It helps fund the show. Other than that, Mike, man, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
This has been probably one of the more valuable episodes that we've done, and I'm probably going to go back and watch this, and you'll probably notice in the Voxer group, I'm going to be telling every single person in our team program to go back and watch this one, because it was a good one.
Awesome.
Cool.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks so much. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.